Hello viewers, welcome to the next video in the tutorial series for PHP. In this video, we are going to discuss about loops in PHP. Okay, so what are loops? So loops are used to execute same piece of code specified number of times. What are the type of loops that we have in PHP? So we have for loop, while loop, do while loop and for each loop. We would go through each of them with the help of the example. Okay, so this is the example which I have created. First we would look into the for loop. So here I have initialized $x is 0, $y is equals to 0. Now this is the for loop in which we have initialized $I equal to 0. This is the condition, like $I less than 5, which means till $I is less than 5 the code would enter into this loop, else it would break. Third one is $I plus plus. What does it mean? It means that at the end of the iteration the value of $I is incremented by 1. So in first iteration $I is equals to 0, so and $I is less than 5, so x would be incremented by 1. So $x would become 1, $y would become 2. Next iteration $I plus plus is there, so $I equal to 1. Now 1 is less than 5, so $x would become now 2 and $y would become 4. Next iteration $I plus plus, so it would become 2. Now 2 is less than 5, so $x would become 3 and $y would become 6. Next iteration $y is 3, so $x is equals to 4 and $y is equals to 8. Next iteration $I is equals to 4, so 4 is less than 5, so $x would become 5, $y would become 10. Now next iteration $I is equals to 5 and 5 is not less than 5, so it would come out of this loop and this echo is printed over here. So x should be equal to 5 and y should be equal to 10. Now let's look into it at browser. Okay, so this is the output of the for loop. So x at the end of loop is 5 and y at the end of loop is 10. So this is how for loop is executed in the code. Moving ahead, let's look into the while loop. So I would just uncomment this code. Okay, so we have initialized $I equal to 0, $num is equals to 30, and we have put up a condition over here for while loop which says that while $I less than 10. It means till the value of $I is 9, because we are incrementing $I plus plus over, we are doing $I plus plus over here. So till $I not equal to 10 this loop would be executed. So we start with $I is equals to 0, then $num getting decremented by 1 and $I is incremented by 1. So it as it starts with 0, so it would execute 10 times. So the value of $num at the end of loop should be 20 and the value of $I should be 10. So now let's look the output on the browser. Okay, so the output is after loop I is 10 and after loop num is 20. So this is how the while loop is executed in the code. Okay, moving ahead, let's look into do while. Okay, so here we have initialized $I is equals to 0, $num is equals to 0. So we are saying do $i plus plus means increment the value of $i by 1. Then we are checking the condition that if $i is less than 10, then continue executing this loop. So this is the difference between while and do while. In do while, the code at least and the loop at least executes once, but in while this is not true. So here it would at least execute once this statement and then actually it checks the condition. So okay, so we have started with 0, right? So it would execute 10 times. So the output value here should be I is equals to 10. So now let's look the output at the browser. Okay, so do loop stopped at I is equals to 10. This is about do while loop in PHP. Now let's look into for each loop. So for that I would uncomment this code. Okay, so here I have initialized an array with the values as red, blue and green, and then we are executing the for each on these values. So basically for each loop is used to iterate over the values of the array. Now this array can be associative as well. Okay, so okay, we are iterating on the array using for each loop and then printing the value over here. So now let's look the output on the browser. So the output, the first output is color is red, so this value, then color is blue and color is green. Okay, so now what we can do more in this is, so let's say if I say the key for red is 1, so this is, now we are changing it to associative array. So 2, and here we are doing 3. So now this has become an associative array. Now let's say we have to access this array in the for each loop. So how we will do that? We would do it as for each $array as $key $value. So here this $key is this thing and this is the $value. Okay. In previous case where we have not explicitly provided the keys are 0, 1 and 2 integers actually, but here we are providing 1, 2 and 3 as string keys, right? So now let's print the keys over here as well. So okay, key is $key, and then we are doing this. Okay, now let's look the output on the browser. So now color is red and then key is 1, key is 2 and key is 3. So this is how the for each loop works in PHP. So okay, moving ahead, let's talk about couple of keywords. So first is break. So break is used to actually terminate the loop based on some condition. So let's see how we can use break in PHP. So we would go to our example and here we would put a condition: if $i greater than 5, then break. So it means when $i becomes 6, it would simply terminate this loop. So this output would change now. So now let's look into the output on browser. So right now after loop I is 10 and after loop num is 20, right? So now let's refresh the screen. So after loop I is now 6 and after loop num is 24. So this loop has executed only 6 times. So this is how the break works in PHP. Next keyword is continue. So continue basically halts the execution of the current iteration, but it doesn't terminate the loop. So let's see with the help of the example how continue works. So here if I say if $key equal to 2, then continue. So what does it do? When when we are iterating over the array and we are printing the keys over here, right? So $key is so first key is 1, so 1 is not equal to 2, so it would print the key. Now 2 is equals to 2, so it would continue. So it would halt the execution here and goes for the next iteration, but this is not printed. Now next key is 3, so 3 is not equal to 2, so key is printed. So now let's look into the output on browser. So keys 1 is printed, but keys 2 is not printed on the screen. So that's how the continue keyword works in PHP. That's all for this tutorial. I hope this tutorial is useful to you, and if you have any questions you can post them in the comment section, or you can contact us at info@ushainformatic.com. Also, if you like the video, don't forget to click the like button and hit subscribe for the channel for more such videos. Thank you for watching this video.